What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing awesome and taking care of yourself. So today I wanted to ask you guys a question. And this won't be a long podcast because there's not a lot of information about it. And there's not a lot of information that has been given to us. However, I'll ask you this. Could there be alien viruses affecting us currently today? Now, this seems like science fiction. It might be just out of people's realms of possibility. But I ask you about this. And this was brought up to me by my mom the other day. She said, my friend has that alien disease. And I said, what the hell are you talking about? And she's like, she got that alien disease where she got like those fibers coming out of her skin. And I'm like, are you talking about Morgellons? She's like, yeah, Morgellons. I'm like, okay, well, let's look into this. Could this be alien? Because for a long period of time, psychiatrists and medical doctors thought that this was some sort of psychiatric illness, that people were making it up. They were creating like a somatic issue within their bodies, and it was like coming out of their bodies from their psyche. They were either hyper stressed, hyper exuberant, a lot of other psychiatric issues can potentially cause a lot of issues, ranging from stomach issues. They can cause headaches. They can cause tension in the body. They can cause you to do all kinds of things, pull muscles, everything. But can they create fibers? Well, this is where we have to go in a little bit deeper, right? What are these fibers found to have been created by? Are they actually some sort of fabric? Are they something we don't know about here on Earth? Are they something that, we can test for? Well, we did test for it. And you know what they found? Keratin and collagen. And for those of you who don't know what that is, keratin's what your fingernails are made out of and your toenails. And then the collagen is the stuff that, chicks in California inject into their lips to make them bigger. And sometimes their butts. So you got to ask yourself, okay, well, this is all natural stuff. We have collagen in our body. We have keratin in our body. Okay. So could this really be just a psychological illness? Well, they can't really boil it down to that, because some doctors believe that this could actually be a tick-borne virus, a tick-borne bacteria, or some other, parasite type virus. But when they test these threads that come out of people's bodies, that they pull out and they test negative for any viruses and any bacteria. How can that be? The body itself has bacteria. Your body's full of bacteria. We're a bag of bacteria walking around. Tell me there's no bacteria on it? Now it's starting to sound a little bit more alien. Now it's starting to sound like the body is actually rejecting the illness and kicking it out through the skin. It creates lesions on the skin, and then through those lesions, the fibrous materials come out, and people are able to pull them out. It's crazy because I remember seeing this as a kid, and there was like a news channel report on it, and I watched it for a second, and I was like, good God, that's got to be fake, right? They had to just like put a thread and needle into their body, and then, it's like a magician, they're just pulling it out, as a trick. But it's a real thing. Okay, so let's stop with Morgellons for a moment. Could there be any other alien viruses out there that we don't know about? Well, a lot of people thought COVID was an alien virus, could have been an alien virus. That's not the majority. The majority of people, I believe, feel that it came from China. They were using it for gain of function, and it just got out. Or they intentionally let it out. Either it accidentally got out or intentionally got out. One or the other. But there are some people that believe, that early on especially, believe that, hey man, this came out of nowhere. This doesn't make any sense, to our brains. This could be potentially alien. So, maybe the aliens are spraying us with stuff. And that's not out of the realm of possibility either, because back in the 18, even 17 and 1600s, maybe even going back to the 1400s, there were reports of the sickle wielding Grim Reaper spraying stuff onto crops in fields, and people were becoming sick from eating these crops. So there was always this concern about the Grim Reaper having his sickle out in your crop fields, and people putting out scarecrows and things to scare people away from their crops. So I found that interesting. So, well, this is stuff that, it's stuff of folklore, it's stuff of legend, it's stuff that people, believed through wives' tales. But when you go to doctors and they look at like stuff like Morgellons, there's no cure. Some healthcare professionals believe Morgellons disease is a result of a tick-borne bacterial virus, while similar to Lyme disease, while others believe that it could be something completely different in the mental health field. A lot of the symptoms include joint pain, muscle pain, those kinds of things. But the you would think it'd be uniform in the color of these fibers coming out, but the fibers can be a wide range of colors, ranging from black, white, red, and even blue. But in this day and age, how is there a disease that we do not understand that's been around for a long time? I mean, AIDS came out in the late 19 or mid 1980s, I believe it was, and we had like basically a cure for it. By the time like the 2000s rolled around, we had a cocktail that basically knocked it out of your system. And yeah, you might have to stay on the cocktail, but basically it's not even like you're not even showing symptoms anymore. You're not sick with it. You're not physically sick. You're not weak with it. And so how is it that there's this thread-like virus or what bacteria, whatever the case is, and we still haven't figured it out? Well, we can say, hey, there's cancer, and we can't figure that out either, right? But there's so many different types of cancer, and they affect the body in different ways. And although it's understood that cancer is just a bunch of maladaptive, replicating cells that are unordinary to the body, you could say even that is alien, because some people believe that the tumors that are created by the body are created to put your stress, put all of your illnesses into a sack, and it tries to keep it in that sack for a long period of time. But then that sack basically boils over into other organs and gets into the lymph system, and then it gets carried throughout your body. So I find that fascinating too. When we look at what's alien, what's human, what do we define as alien? Are we defining it as extraterrestrial? We know that NASA has protocols for dealing with meteors and things that fall from the sky. They try to handle it with care. They try to handle it, as a biohazard, so that we don't infect the entire Earth with some sort of strange illness. But who knows how long meteors have been hitting the Earth for forever. The Earth's been bombarded with things forever. So who's to say some sort of disease hasn't come from the past and we're dealing with it currently? A lot of alien species and people who encounter aliens during abductions find out from the aliens that they've already conquered colds, the simple colds, flus, and most illnesses. They've conquered them. How can they have conquered everything? You have to become exposed to things in order to get it in your system to fend it off. And what if they encounter something on another planet that they're not ready for, right? Some biological entity that they're not prepared for. It makes you wonder, what do they have? Do they have something that they're wearing around them? Kind of like how there's these devices you can plug into your house that can kill any insects coming in. It basically creates kind of like an electronic barrier around your house, and it really deters ants and things like that from coming in. Well, is there something that we could wear that would create a certain frequency that would block illnesses from being able to penetrate our skin and our immune system? Some people believe so. Some people believe that if you wear the right frequency emitter, that would be battery operated, that you can kill off a good amount of viruses and bacteria that are in your area and in your body. And if you bombard cancer cells with these frequencies, that you can defeat them and you can cure yourself. And so I find that interesting as well. We want to make sure. No, shush. No, shush. Sorry. Brought the dogs with me to pick up the old kids. But anyway, I think it's really fascinating that we look at that and we say, hey, what do we do? What do we do when it comes down to these alien viruses, and can we cure ourselves or can we not? That's what I want to talk about, and hopefully you guys are interested in this topic, because I'm interested in the topic. Apologize for the dogs barking. Hopefully I didn't scare you. But I'm not going back and re-recording. I don't got that time. So anyway, guys, hopefully you're taking care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally, following through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. I think that, as we move forward as a species, we definitely want to make sure that we're trying to cure ourselves, trying to continue to help ourselves, whether it's through meditation, whether it's through technology, whether it's through spiritual prayer, whether it's through thinking about things, praying for someone, or meditating for someone, or casting energy in a positive way towards someone, that it helps you and it helps them. So think about who you can help today and how you can help somebody. I'll leave you with this. I went out and I went to my son's bowling last week, and a mother was writing these envelopes, and these envelopes had special messages for her daughter who was going to college. And I thought, wow, that is such a cool idea. I'm like, I need to be a better parent and do something like that. So something simple as that. When you the envelope would say, if you're having a bad day, open this envelope. And then inside it would have a certain message. Think about something like that today and bring up our spiritual elevation. Take care of yourselves, guys. Peace out. Lockdown Universe out.